KVK Prep is one of the most important aspects of Kingshot. So today I'm gonna show you everything you need to know about this simplified KVK Prep guide, as well as the new addition of Masters items and a few things that you need to know to really maximize the amount of points you can make to get the maximum amount of rewards for your account, but also for your server. So Kingdom of Power is what we call KVK, a battle between kingdoms, and you will see that there are 5 different phases, and those are basically 5 different days, and every single day has a different amount of things that you can do for points. Some days are better than others for some items, but also some days repeat the same exact thing, but there's still a difference in which day you should choose. So this is a template that was done by many people, I'm guessing, in the past, and it has been shared throughout my alliance for many months now with all KVKs, and I find it very useful as opposed to looking at every single day one at a time. If it has a check mark, it means that is the best day to do this push. If it has okay, it means it's okay but not optimal, and I'll explain why. If you have a red line, of course, that means do not do it on that day because you're wasting your time. And prepare is a special one that I'm going to cover when we get to it. Every day here, so day 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, those are the 5 days of KVK Prep. And then the 6th day is usually the battle, the war around the castle. KVK Prep is very important to win. There are tons of reward. If you win, your entire servers wins stuff, but also your account, depending on how high you placed in the prep, you will win very decent reward. And there is also very important stuff that will allow you to get more points if you do it properly. So on the right here, you will see what the item that you should be saving for KVK is. So everything on this list, you should really be saving for KVK. Now, the first one is Truegold, and I think ultimately that is the biggest, most important item for all of KVK Prep. The more of this you save, the more points you're gonna get because it is worth a ton of points. So on day 1, you are going to be mostly building. So that means you're gonna get points for building speed up use. You also get these points on day 2. However, your kingdom buff, which is activated by the king or queen, is going to be a 24-hour buff that gives 10% extra. And most servers activate it on day 1. That means that on day 1 is when you will want to do all of that pushing. Now, if you are at TC 24, 25, all your speed ups that you're using are good. But for anybody else, when you're maxed out at TC 30, you will then use Truegold. And Truegold is a very high cap. Unless you're well, you will never really reach the max within months. It will take a long time. And that means that you always have Truegold to spend. So you are going to be using your Truegold with your building, making them Truegold level 1, 2, 3, even 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 eventually. So this is where the Truegold spending is at its best. So that's why it's green here. So it's okay on day 2 and day 5 because you still get the same amount of points from the Truegold every of those days. However, you only get the 10% buff for building on day 1. So this is why day 1 is the building and Truegold day. This is where you're going to upgrade every building that you can and use the Truegold and the speed ups that you have. I wouldn't recommend using too many general speed ups on building, but using all of your Truegold and all of your building speed ups is usually a pretty good idea. You also get points for research and masters. Now, there is no kingdom buff for masters, so on this day, using masters speed ups is very good. There's no problem with that. However, using your speed ups is going to be good to gain the experience, but to level up the skill, you only get the points with the manuscript at day 2 and day 3. So you can go into your masters and speed up a lot of the research so that they have the amount of experience required to level up the skill. However, you wouldn't really level up the skill on day 1. You want to wait until you get rewarded for the manuscript you're spending. So this is a very important one. And then research, you also get points for it, but research is going to be usually on day 2 because the kingdom buff for research is going to be used on day 2 when the kingdom buff for construction is day 1. Now, this could change based on your kingdom, so make sure that you check with your server leaders. However, this is usually how most people do it. So this is why it is done that way. But you do get the majority of the point the same on those days. The only difference is you get a little extra buff, which means you spend less speed up per research or less speed up per building, which gives you more points because you save speed up. Another thing you do on day 1 is Governor Charm. So Governor Charm you do on multiple days and there is no buff associated. So that's just leveling up the gems inside of your Governor gear, which are the charms. Usually most people go for either archer or infantry priority because they are better than calves in terms of leveling, but there is a whole optimization thing where you don't want to leave anything too far behind either. So that's for another video. Now, the last two are gathering and intel, and there is this little prepare, and technically there should be a prepare before intel, because there's a special thing you can do with intel and gathering. So gathering is pretty straightforward. You are not going to get any point on day one for gathering, but gathering a full node takes something like 6, 7, 8 hours with using the buff that you should be using for 600 gems. And this means that 6, 7 hours before you are day 2, well, you should send all your gatherers out so that as soon as day 2 hits, they're all coming back to your city, giving you points right away. Also, if you have an alliance node, you can gather for up to 24 hours. Well, you should send a big march with a lot of troops and make sure that you fully gather what you can, and then time it so that they come back to your city the second that the gathering day is started. So this is why there's a yellow thing like this, and it's the same the entire time. So you get points on day 2, 4, and 5. So on day 1 and 3, prepare a few hours before, up to a day before the KVK starts, and make sure that you send a lot of gatherers so that they come back to your city and give you points right away. It's not a massive amount of points, but for free-to-play and low spenders, you want to just hit really the daily goals to get the daily rewards from the KVK event. You're not going to be pushing millions of powers like the whales, but you're still going to push a little bit, and every little bit helps for a whole server. If 200 people do a little bit of preparation, well, that could mean the difference between winning against an enemy that hasn't prepared. Now for intel, that means it's your intel missions. So when you look into the intel mission screen here, they reset at 0, 8, and 16, and they last 15 hours. This means that the day before KVK starts, you will get at reset missions. You should do them because there's nothing really you can do from 0, 15 hours later is still not the day 1. However, the ones at 8 and the ones at 16, well, these guys, you can save them. This means that your whole screen will be full of these intels, and you will complete them but not take the reward. You will leave them on hold in this screen. You have just to not touch them. And then when the reset happens for the KVK, you will have a full screen to collect. But then because you haven't done the other one that were like at 1600, well, you will have all of these ones pop up for you. And when they pop up, you will be able to complete them, which means that you're going to get double the amount of intel mission. You should also be saving your pan for just before so that you do the same thing. And then just after reset, you can use your pan again, so you get extra missions that way. Now, this is something you can do every day that you get mission points. So right now I am on the mission day, so there's nothing like that to do. But tomorrow I will do my, my first ones in the morning, and then in the afternoon I will complete them all, not collect them. At reset, I will collect all of them, and then I'll have a full screen of missions to do again, and then I'll do all of them again and collect all of them. So that means I'm collecting more than 2 times the amount of mission as soon as reset hits on the day that KVK happens. So these are pretty good because they give you 6,000 points each. And again, it's going to allow for free-to-plays to complete these 3 chests without really doing any spending of any material whatsoever. Now, for day 2, this is when you are going to be doing research, as I said, if your kingdom is using that. And hero shards is going to be the day that you get a lot of points for them, same as day 3. So that is going to be every hero shard you saved, purple, blue, orange heroes, level up all the star levels, you're getting points for that. And that is the day to do it. And then gold dust is also going to be the day for it. Now, I don't have gold dust on my server yet, but basically it's similar to the Truegold. So the gold dust is related to research, but Truegold research. So again, you do research on day 2, building on day 1, but that is server dependent, so just confirm. And then of course, if you still have a little bit of building to do and a little bit of Truegold left to do, like you don't have the buff anymore, but you can still do it. You get the same amount of points. So there's not a bad thing in using Truegold and using building speed ups. You're just not getting the extra speed up reward. That's really just what it is. Now, for the troop, this is where there's a little something that's different. You are going to have troops on day 4, but on day 2 and day 3, depending on your account, depending on if you're spending gems and stuff. So if you come in your training screen, you'll see here you can click this, and this enhances the capacity that you can train, which means you can train 200% more troops for 2 hours. So when you go and click on that, you'll see that now my training is up to 1 day 16. So I can train now, and in 1 day 16 hours, you make sure that you time it so that your server is going to be on day 4. So for me, it's a little bit later, like I have 4 hours left of this and then 24 hours of this day. But if you queue it up on day 2, well, that means that as soon as day 4 hits, you have a full triple amount of troops ready to go, like 3,000 infantry, bam, ready to go right away. So this is how you set yourself up for a lot more points, and this is a bit of spending, but you only need to spend it once and you can do all 3 of them at once. So this is something you can do on day 2 if you plan it well, close-ish to reset, a little few hours before reset of day going into day 3, or anytime on day 3 you can still do it. And then on day 4, whatever is left, you just speed it up and finish it, and you are going to get a lot of points that way. Now day 2 has roulette, so that's just giving points for spinning the roulette. Every player who can should spin at least 220. If you're being careful about how you're doing it, you can do 61 day, well, 71 day and 50 the other day or whatever. Just make sure you get the bonus for 120. And if you don't have the means to do that with the gems, well, just spin what you can. 70 is really like one of the bare minimum that any free-to-play should be able to do if you're in an active alliance and doing rallies every day. So if you're going to be spending 70, we'll do like 41 day, 30 the other day. Just make sure that you do it on these 2 days because roulette heroes are very good for free-to-play and you get free points for doing it. Now, the next thing is gathering. So if you've queued up gathering the day before, you'll receive your gatherers and then you will just send them out again all day, every 7 hours. Use the buff. Make sure to use the buff for extra percentage gathering speed and then gather all day. Of course, it's free points. And then this is when you get emblems and manuscripts. So this is when you go into your masters and you level them up and then you transform them to the next level. So at 60, 70, 80, 20, 40, you spend the emblems and then you go into the skills. All the skills that you sped up the day before, you then spend the manuscript and level up the skill. So different players are going to have different skills to prioritize. Free-to-play are usually going to go for pan and for bear rewards and stuff like that. But I'm going to have a whole video on that in the future. So make sure to subscribe to check that out. Now, next is going to be day 3. Day 3, hero shards are still a thing because roulette is also still a thing. So whatever you didn't spend on day 2, do it then. Gold keys, if you have a lot of them and Jabo is not max, you would open them all if you can. Max all the heroes, purple, blue, gold, everything you have. This is the day to do it. There's no other reason to hold them. And this is, going to be very good for you. And then you can, as I said, the troop, you can pre-queue troop if you didn't do it the day before. Roulette again. Gathering, this is when you're going to prepare gathering for the next day again. Intel, again, you prepared the day before, so hopefully you have intel to complete on that day that's doubled for more points. And then this is the pet day. So day 3 is when you are going to go into your pets, level them up to levels of like 10, so 40, 30, 50, 60, and then you spend the resource to advance them, and then you get points for that. And then you go into refinement and you refine all of them that you can. So you try to refine one pet at a time, bring it all to green, next pet to green, next pet to green, after that next pet to blue, next pet to blue, kind of thing. So that's kind of like more balanced. But again, I'm going to have a whole video on that coming in the future. Governor Charm, if you didn't spend it all on day 1, you can spend it on that day. Or if you have gotten more from events or spending between day 1 and day 3, you can spend on that day. If you are going to be just spending the bare minimum during your KVK, you can try and spread it out so that you have something to do every day to get the 3 chests. So this is a strategy to do, but it's really not hard to get the 3 chests, even for free-to-play. You don't need to spend a lot of gems or time. Just a few resources that you get normally from the game should do it for you. And day 3 also has the emblem and manuscript. So again, whatever you didn't do on day 2, you can do on day 3. And then the speed ups that you spend on day 1, this is when you're going to apply whatever you sped up. Now, day 4 is going to be the troop training day. That is the day where most of the troop training happens. And this is when using troop speed ups are going to be good. Now, you get a lot of points for troops. So the higher tier troops you're training, the better amount of points. So this is when you use all of your training speed ups. And if you have a lot of low level troops, you would try and promote them all to the highest level you can reach, whether it's level 10 or TG3, doesn't matter. Anything you have, you want to level up to the highest level possible. And that costs less speed up than training brand new ones and will give you a very big amount of points. So this is really the best strategy here. So troops, just train all of them, upgrade all of them. Of course, I wouldn't spend too many general speed ups here either. It depends on your account. You want to have enough to fill up like 6 marches and a lot of archers to join bear and stuff, and a lot of infantry to join like Viking and all that kind of stuff. But general speed ups are usually better off in research and even masters than troops and building, unless you have like less than 500,000 troops. Maybe you want to get a little bit more at close to that number, so you can have like 5-6 marches for bear and gathering and all that kind of stuff. Now, gathering in intel, again, it's pretty much the same thing, repeating over and over. So gather and prepare the day before. Governor Charm, same thing. This is the last day where you can do Governor Charm. So whatever you have left in Governor Charm, spend it on that day. Widgets, Mithril, and Forge Hammers. So this is day 4, day 5. So this is when you go into your heroes and you go into their widgets and you level them up for your main heroes only, of course. Usually most people would try and spend 1 hero per generation. They will go for the widget. So generation 1 for me, I'm doing Amadeus. Generation 2, I'm doing Merlin. Generation 3, I'm doing Petra. So these are the widgets that I am currently spending. Mithril, of course, that is something for late game or for spenders. Try and get one piece of orange gear that gives the right stats to the level 11 with the forge hammers, and then transform it into a red piece. I can do usually one piece per KVK, and then I use a few mithril. I use a lot of forge hammers, and that's it. Try also level up all your gear as much as you can. You know, that's kind of when you can do it. There's no point for it, but like this is where you optimize all of your hero gear. And now day 5. Day 5 has almost everything. Now, none of it is optimal up here because you've had days with the buffs to do it, but anything you have left, you've played the game for 5 days, there are more items coming. Sometimes there are more events. If you're spending, you're getting a lot more stuff. You can spend it all on that day. There is no malice. You get the same amount of points for the gold dust, same amount of points for the true gold, all the speed ups. Troop, not as good though. Don't spend troops there. The only day you want to do troops is 4 because that's when you get the most amount of points. That's also when you're going to have the kingdom buff, which makes a very, very big difference. And also for all of these speed ups, you can apply for the king position. So the minister position to give you an extra buff if you plan ahead. So this is why it's better to do these things on the specific days that you should be doing it, because you get kingdom buff and you apply for a position and you get a lot more value out of it. But it's not obligatory. You still get the points. You just are less efficient about it. Now, gathering intel, again, the same thing. Pet, whatever you didn't do on this day, you can then do on this day because it's still the same amount of points. So there's no difference there. And there's no real kingdom buff or anything like that for pets. Governor charm, that's over. Governor gear, that is the only day you can do governor gear. So that's the gear that you get when you look at your main screen with your account, and that is when you get the points for it. So this is really good for your account. Getting every gear to like yellow level or orange level is usually the goal, and then afterwards it gets really expensive for a lot less rewards. But this is the day for governor gear, so that's when you spend it. Everything hero gear that you didn't do also, you'll be able to finish up on day 5 for the same amount of points. So this is a lot, but in general, it goes pretty quickly by day. There's a few things, and I like this kind of page because it really helps kind of like make it visually known. You put it on the second screen or on your phone or whatever, and then you know exactly what you should be kind of focusing on. Last thing I'm going to say is that no matter what in KVK, no matter what account you are, you want to do these 3 every single day. They're really not hard to achieve. Like, it's 200,000. I got 7 million, and I really didn't spend that much stuff. I still spent a decent, but like even today, like I'm pretty low in the ranking. I just did my pet stuff, and I'm like almost 10 times of what I need. So you really don't need to spend money or gems. You can pre-plan a little bit, the gathering, the intel, a little bit of your resources that you've gotten, the true gold and this and that, and you will achieve it easily. But you must get it because you get the medal rewards, and getting these every day is massive reward. And at the end, it's also, you know, it accumulates to a lot of reward, and every one of these gives you like designs and speed ups, a lot of resource, and kingdom coin. Kingdom coin can be used to buy a lot of really good stuff in here as well. So there is just like no reason not to do it, and every single day you can achieve it with really no spending whatsoever. This one at the bottom, your alliance is always going to get it unless you are the only member in your alliance. So you should be an alliance that does it. So this is really just the only main important thing here. You want to be able to get all of this. Now, if you look like this, our server, you know, they're pretty close, but we're beating them by quite a bit. Maybe I'll save up a little bit and for the next KVK and not go all out on everything. But, you know, this is something to evaluate on that on your own server. So thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you on my next video.